I think you yourself make that point, Thunderfoot, that you know, if you want them to be employed, you can't just point your employer to your Google search history. You pretty much have to take a piece of paper, and that piece of paper is really important, because what that's doing is that's linking you in to a bureaucratic system of knowledge management, which sounds really cold and sterile, but actually it's the tip of the iceberg of a whole set of bureaucratic and institutional and organisational practices which make sure that knowledge is valued, and that values are maintained, and that all those things to do with parity are maintained, I mentioned before. And right now, and this will probably change too, right now that is still held mostly by the universities and colleges. Not for any proprietorial reasons, it's just because they have the history, so they've got the infrastructure. I can certainly imagine situations in which that becomes outsourced as well, in which there becomes, in the same way that knowledge has been distributed, and the same way that knowledge communities are distributed, and to a certain extent research is distributed. I can certainly imagine a situation in which the bureaucracy of knowledge evaluation and management is similarly distributed. We're nowhere near that yet, but I can imagine it. So I don't think Dan Brown is entirely wrong in some of his aspirations. I think he's wrong in his claims about college getting in the way of an education. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've got to say. Yeah, just a couple of, if anybody's interested in reading about this stuff, a great book, and this is old stuff, it's aspirational, pre-internet stuff. But the two key texts, one is Deschooling Society by Ivan Illich, which is this great book, probably written in the 60s, something like that. Very utopian idea about how you might de-school a society. He's not talking about colleges, he's talking about schools, about what kind of a society we would need to disperse schooling education within a society. That's pretty good. And the other is a book called The University in Ruins, which is, again, pretty hubristic and utopian about what you might do to destabilise what could be seen as a hierarchical and perhaps elitist educational system in favour of something which is more locally accountable, more accessible, got more in and out points, and is less tailored to the needs of 18 to 22-year-olds. Anyway, thanks very much.